The signal had appeared out of nowhere. Ryan Cole stared at the blinking light. On his console, his fingers frozen above the keys. For 3 days, the outer trade routes had been silent, just the usual hum of passing freighters and distant stars. But this signal was different. It was weak, almost imperceptible, and yet it had a clear rhythm. Ryan had seen many distress calls before, but none like this. It was structured, deliberate, and it made his stomach tighten. Someone or something was calling for help. He tapped a few commands, bringing up the signal's source. The coordinates led to a dead zone. Most species avoided this area because of violent gravity, storms that could tear a ship apart in minutes. It was a place even the Council's exploration fleets stayed clear of. Rumors said entire fleets had vanished there without a trace. Most aliens called it the graveyard. Humans called it dangerous. Ryan frowned. Whatever was sending this SOS was either desperate or foolish. Maybe both. Captain Ethan Brooks stood behind him. Arms crossed, eyes sharp. He had seen Ryan tense before, usually when data didn't make sense. "What do you see?" Ethan asked. His voice was calm, steady, with just a hint of worry underneath. "It's definitely an SOS," Ryan said, "but it's coming from the dead zone near the edge of Sector 9. The signal pattern is repeating every 32 seconds. Someone is alive, and they're trying to get help." Ethan frowned. The Council already dismissed this. They think it's a trap. Every other species agrees with them. They say no one sane would risk sending ships into that storm. Every 3. "Maybe they're wrong," Ryan said quietly. He didn't need the Council's approval. He only needed Ethan to trust him. Ethan studied the readings for a moment, then nodded. "Prepare a small task group. Keep it quiet. No Council notifications. We'll handle this ourselves." Ryan blinked in surprise. "You mean we're going in? Without backup?" "We have to," Ethan replied. "If someone is alive out there, waiting, they won't last long. If we delay, it might be too late. Humans don't wait for permission when a life is at stake." Across the galaxy, alien observers were watching. The Deathworlders were famous for surviving impossible environments, but even the bravest of them didn't interfere in the dead zone. It was considered suicide. From their observation posts, they laughed. They talk too much. They value life. Yes, but not foolishly. The storm would kill them before they even reached the signal. But the humans did not hesitate. Ethan called his crew together. Claire Adams, the tactical officer, stood at the front. She was calm and sharp, her eyes scanning each face as if reading their thoughts. Lucas Gray, the scout pilot, adjusted his flight jacket nervously. He had flown through storms before, but this was different. The dead zone was unpredictable, full of forces no sensor could fully measure. "We move fast, but quietly," Ethan said. "We can't alert the Council. We can't alert anyone else. This is about saving lives first. Combat comes later, if it comes at all." The crew nodded. They were humans, after all, born for impossible odds, trained for conditions most species would never attempt. Fear was a tool, not a chain. Their ships powered up, small human frigates and scouts, sleek and fast. The engine hum was low, almost silent. The signal guided them, faint and insistent. As they approached the edge of the dead zone, the sensors started to behave strangely. Gravity spikes, sudden shifts in magnetic fields, waves of energy that bent light and twisted space. Most species would have turned back. Humans pushed forward. Lucas piloted the lead scout, weaving through turbulence that would have shredded an alien hull in seconds. "Captain," he said, his voice tight, "this storm, It's worse than anything I've seen. We'll have to adjust our jumps. One wrong move. And we don't have a choice, Ethan said firmly. We go now. We calculate each jump carefully. We trust our training. We trust each other. The ships began their short burst jumps, hopping across the dead zone in rapid succession. Each jump took them closer to the SOS, and each jump tested their limits. Inside the command deck, Claire monitored every reading, her fingers flying over the controls. Ships are holding, she said. Shields are fluctuating but stable. Keep it tight. Hours passed. The storms did not relent. Sometimes, the crew had to drop out of jumps unexpectedly, letting the ships drift in the chaos while recalculating paths. Lucas's hands were steady on the controls, sweat beading on his forehead. Ryan adjusted the sensors, tracing the signal with each new position. It was faint, but alive. The closer they got, the stronger it became. Someone was waiting. Someone needed them. Finally, they emerged from the worst of the storms. Before them was a shattered convoy. Alien ships, mangled and burning, floating helplessly. The SOS came from one of them, a research vessel, torn in half but still broadcasting. Survivors clung to broken escape pods, their fear palpable even through the shields and communications delay. "We're here," Ethan said, his voice quiet but steady. The aliens they were rescuing stared at the humans in shock. Most had never seen humans up close, and fewer had ever imagined a human fleet would appear in the dead zone. Some whispered among themselves, disbelief in their voices. They came for us," one said. "We thought no one would come." 17-1. Claire directed the rescue operations. "We take the pods in first," she said. "Then, we assess the larger ships. Get everyone aboard. Prepare for a fight. I don't like the quiet here." Lucas guided the first pod toward the human frigates. Inside, alien survivors clutched each other, pale and trembling. One small alien girl looked up at Lucas, eyes wide. "You came," she whispered. "We thought we were alone." "Not alone," Lucas said softly. "We're here now. Hold on." As the humans rescued the survivors, the first signs of trouble appeared. Sensors picked up movement in the distance. A fleet of alien raiders, predatory species known for ambush and brutality, were approaching. They had attacked the convoy days earlier and had waited, assuming no one would interfere. They had not expected humans. "They're coming," Ryan said. "And they don't know we're here yet." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Good. We have the element of surprise. Everyone stay calm. We finish the rescue first. Then we fight if we must." The aliens in the pods were quiet, unsure of what was happening. Some tried to help. Some froze in fear. The humans moved with precision. Every action had a purpose. Every move was coordinated. Even in the chaos, they were calm. Hours passed, and the last pod docked. The humans checked supplies, medical kits, and communications. Some of the rescued aliens murmured thanks. Others stared in awe. The humans had crossed a dead zone no one else would dare enter. They had arrived when it mattered most. Ethan looked at his crew. "We can't relax," he said. "They'll be here soon. We hold the line if needed. Humans do not run from a fight, and we do not leave anyone behind." Claire nodded, scanning the approaching signals. "We're ready, just in case." Grood. Lucas gritted his teeth, adjusting the shields. "I never thought we'd see this many ships in one area. They'll be shocked when we hit them first." Ryan allowed himself a brief smile. The signal that had seemed so weak, so insignificant, had brought them here. It had guided them into the dead zone, and saved lives. Humans had moved where no one else dared. They had acted without permission, without hesitation. And now, the galaxy would have to take notice even if the Deathworlders did not realize it yet. And somewhere, deep in the approaching Raider fleet, sensors began to pick up the human ships. The Raiders assumed they were ordinary, slow, predictable humans. They had no idea what waited for them. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of responsibility. "We do this for life," he whispered. "Always for life." The storm raged around them, but inside the human ships, calm prevailed. The SOS had led them here. And now nothing, not storms, not raiders, not the dead zone itself would stop them from doing what humans always did: protect, survive, and act when it mattered most. And as the first warning signals from the Raider fleet flickered on the human sensors, Ethan's crew prepared. They had come to save lives, but they were ready to fight if necessary. The galaxy would remember this day. The human fleet moved quietly through the edge of the dead zone. The rescued aliens were secured in the medical bays, still shaken but alive. Every human ship ran systems, checks, monitored shields, and kept engines in standby. The storm around them had not eased, and the Raiders were getting closer. But the humans showed no fear. They never did. Commander Claire Adams studied the approaching fleet. "They're coming faster than I expected," she said. Her voice was calm, but her mind raced. She ran simulations in seconds, figuring out the best way to protect the survivors. "We can't wait for them to attack. We have to be ready before they even arrive." Ethan Brooks nodded. "Prepare short-range jump points. If they get too close, we move instantly. Lucas, you're on the lead scout. Trace the edges and watch for ambushes. Ryan, keep decoding the Raider signals. We need to know what they plan." Lucas gripped the controls of his scout. "Roger that, Captain. I'll find out if they're spreading out or coming in a straight line." He pushed the ship into the turbulent currents of the storm, feeling every fluctuation in the gravity waves. It was dangerous. Yes, but he trusted his ship and his training. Humans thrived where others failed. Inside the human fleet, tension was present but controlled. Medics checked the rescued aliens, offering water and comfort. Some of the survivors were weak, others scared. One small alien child kept asking for his parents, and a human nurse sat beside him, holding his hand, speaking in soothing tones. "Don't worry," she said softly. "We're here. We're not going anywhere. You're safe." The humans worked efficiently. Every movement had purpose. Unlike the Raiders, who relied on fear and brute force, humans relied on coordination and quick thinking. They moved calmly, even under pressure, even in the eye of a storm that would have shredded most alien ships. Ryan monitored the Raider communications. The signals were loud and chaotic, full of aggression. The aliens were confident. They assumed humans would be too slow to reach the convoy, too cautious to act. They had waited here for days, planning the final strike. They did not expect humans. "They're talking to each other," Ryan said, adjusting the frequency. "They think they're safe. They think no one would dare come into this storm. They're underestimating us." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Good. Let them think that. We'll use it." He looked around at his officers. "Remember, our first job is to protect the survivors. Second is to fight. If necessary, we are not reckless, but we are prepared. Humans never wait. Humans never retreat." Claire ran through tactical plans. "We'll split the fleet into two groups. One stays with the survivors, maintaining shield integrity. The other moves forward to intercept if the Raiders attack. Timing is key. If they get too close, we can use the storms to our advantage. Their sensors won't function here, as ours do. Lucas felt a thrill. He loved flying in difficult conditions. The storm made everything unpredictable. Alien ships relied on speed and numbers, but the humans relied on skill and adaptability. Even if the raiders had 10 times the ships, they could not match human precision. Hours passed. The raider fleet came into view. Large, heavily armed, and arrogant. They assumed the humans would panic, that the survivors would be abandoned. Instead, they saw calm and order. Human ships moved in tight formation, shields humming, engines silent enough to avoid detection. The raiders hesitated. Something was off. Humans should not be here. They're slower than us, Lucas said, eyes on his display. They expect us to be slow, predictable. They don't know we can move faster, think faster, act faster. Ryan adjusted the sensors. I'm picking up their attack patterns. They assume a straight assault. We can anticipate their moves. Ethan nodded. We don't attack yet. We protect first. Only respond if necessary. They'll make the first mistake. Claire monitored the storm around them. Gravity spikes shifted the ship's path slightly, but humans adjusted instantly. Even in the dead zone, humans adapted. Alien raiders were less flexible, relying on raw firepower rather than thinking through the changes in real time. The first wave of raiders came into range. They opened fire, assuming the humans would panic. Lasers cut through the storm, lightning-like streaks that could vaporize smaller ships in seconds. But the human fleet was ready. Shields flared. Countermeasures activated. And the first volley had minimal impact. The raiders blinked in surprise. Humans were not only present, they were prepared. They hit, we hold, Ethan said. Claire, position the defense lines. Lucas, scout ahead and draw their attention if possible. Ryan, keep decoding. Every pattern we can see, we use. The battle began in the chaos of the storm. Human ships moved with precision, dodging attacks, positioning themselves to protect the rescued aliens. Raiders expected fear. They expected hesitation. They got calm calculation instead. Medics worked as fast as possible, tending to injured survivors. Humans moved them to safety behind reinforced shields. Even as explosions shook the area, humans stayed composed. Fear was present, but controlled. Humans had trained for impossible conditions. This was nothing new. The raiders tried to flank the humans, thinking their numbers would be enough to overwhelm them. Lucas adjusted his flight path, leading them into a gravity spike. One ship lost control, colliding with another. Humans used the storms strategically, knowing exactly how to navigate them. Alien raiders did not. They're panicking, Ryan said, analyzing the pattern. They assumed we would be chaotic, but our movements are precise. We're using the environment against them. Ethan watched from the command deck. Calm, but focused. Humans never underestimate nature or enemy, he said. We adapt, we survive, and we act decisively. Hours passed, but humans kept their advantage. Raiders tried repeated attacks, but each one failed. Every strike was anticipated. Humans protected the convoy, rescued survivors, and used the storms to their advantage. Every move was deliberate, every action measured. The rescued aliens began to realize humans were unlike any species they had seen. One of the survivors, a scientist, whispered to a nurse, "They came for us, in the storm, and they are unafraid. I have never seen courage like this." Humans did not act for praise or fear. They acted because it was necessary. Lives mattered. Survival mattered. They did not wait for permission. They did not wait for recognition. They did what had to be done. Ethan gave orders for small squads to sweep the area, ensuring no raider ship could sneak past. Lucas led a reconnaissance team, weaving between debris and storms to find gaps in the enemy formation. Claire coordinated the main fleet, directing shields, firepower, and maneuvering. Ryan monitored signals, adjusting communications, and decoding the raiders' strategies in real time. Time dragged, but humans moved efficiently. They rescued everyone from escape pods. Medical bays filled with survivors, some terrified, some exhausted. Humans worked without hesitation, without pause, understanding that every second counted. Finally, the raiders began to realize something critical. Humans were not just present, they were better prepared than expected. Humans had used the storms, the environment, and precise planning to neutralize their attacks. Each failure shocked the raider commanders. They had underestimated the Deathworlders. They had assumed fear would control humans. It had not. They are too precise. One raider growled in frustration. We cannot predict them. They act too quickly, too intelligently. Ethan smiled faintly, watching the raiders' signals. Humans think fast. Humans act fast. Humans survive where others die. We are the storm's children, not its victims. As the first night in the dead zone passed, the human fleet remained vigilant. Survivors rested under watchful eyes, shields held steady, and systems ran at peak efficiency. Humans had not only rescued lives, but had taught the approaching raiders a lesson. They were unpredictable, relentless, and efficient. The storm continued to rage, but humans moved calmly through it. Each member of the crew knew their purpose. They were trained, prepared, and focused. No fear could shake them, no storm could stop them, and no enemy could break their discipline. Ryan, watching the decoded signals, realized that the raiders were planning a retreat. They had expected easy prey, not humans capable of operating in impossible conditions. The Deathworlders had caught them off guard, and the raiders had no choice but to reconsider their plans. Ethan looked at his crew, proud but focused. We protect life. We fight only when necessary. Remember that. Humans always find a way. Claire nodded. And we're just getting started. The galaxy will remember this day. As dawn broke over the storm clouds, human ships glimmered like beacons of calm in chaos. Rescued aliens stared in awe, beginning to understand what humans could do. They were not the fastest or the strongest. But humans were clever, brave, and precise. They acted when no one else would. They survived where no one else could. And somewhere beyond the storm, the raider fleet regrouped, still underestimating humans, unaware that they had just faced a species that would never hesitate, never falter, and never leave anyone behind. The SOS had stirred the humans, and the galaxy would soon take notice of what that truly meant. The raider fleet had regrouped, but they were nervous now. Their initial attacks had failed. The humans had not panicked. They had not retreated. Instead, the humans had moved with calm, precise efficiency, using the storm and debris to their advantage. The raiders had never faced a species like this before. They assumed fear and chaos would control humans. They had been wrong. Inside the human command ship, Ethan Brooks studied the fleet through the view screen. His officers worked efficiently, their fingers flying across panels and holographic displays. Every sensor, every shield, every weapon system was ready. They were humans, and humans thrived in situations that others feared. Claire Adams spoke from the tactical station. They're forming a line, trying to flank us. If they hit full strength, it could overwhelm the survivors' convoy. We need to act fast. Ethan nodded. Prepare the counterstrike. We move first, not second. Humans never wait for the enemy to attack fully. Lucas, lead the intercept squad. Ryan, track their weak points. We hit hard and precise. Lucas felt his hands tighten on the controls. He loved these moments. The rush of danger, the certainty of skill. I'm ready, he said. His scout darted forward, weaving through lightning-like bursts of storm energy, barely visible in the thick clouds. The Raiders' sensors struggled to track him. Ryan scanned the Raider fleet, reading patterns in their movements. They're focused on the convoy. Their attention is divided. Shields are strong at the front, but weaker on the sides. That's our entry point. Ethan smiled. Good. Claire, give the order. All units, engage, Claire commanded. Protect the convoy first. Intercept the Raiders at their weakest points. Precision over power. Timing over numbers. Humans act where others hesitate. The human fleet moved with deadly efficiency. Frigates and scouts split into groups. Some stayed close to the survivors, using shields and sensor jammers to protect them. Others, led by Lucas, darted into the storm, taking positions behind debris and gravity spikes. They were invisible until the right moment. The Raiders had no idea humans were moving through the storm. They expected a slow, predictable defense, not skilled navigation through deadly turbulence. Humans used every advantage. One by one, they struck weak points in the Raider formation. Small missiles hit shields, where armor was thin. Laser bursts cut engines. Chaos spread among the Raiders as they realized the humans were not only present, they were precise. Ethan watched calmly. Hold positions. Do not overextend. Humans do not take unnecessary risks. Claire adjusted shields for the convoy. They're firing back. We can handle it. Maintain focus. We've anticipated their moves. Roof. The Raiders tried to regroup and focus fire on the human intercept squad. They assumed the humans were reckless. Instead, the humans anticipated their attacks, dodging through gravitational currents, using the storm as cover. Every strike missed or was absorbed by reinforced shields. Frustration spread through the Raider ranks. Ryan analyzed the incoming fire. They're repeating patterns. They think they can trap us in a predictable path. We can use this. Ethan nodded. Prepare to counter. Use their patterns against them. Humans think faster than the Raiders expect. Lucas darted between debris, drawing enemy fire. A Raider cruiser fired a heavy beam, but Lucas twisted his scout through a spike of magnetic energy. The beam hit a storm cloud and dispersed harmlessly. The Raider commander growled, frustrated by the human's speed. Human frigates struck in coordinated waves. Shields flared, and the Raiders' formations broke. One cruiser collided with its own smaller ship while trying to evade attacks. Explosions lit the storm. Though the humans avoided major damage, the survivors in the convoy watched in awe, seeing skill, precision, and courage in action. Medics continued their work, tending to minor injuries among the rescued aliens. One alien scientist whispered to a nurse, "They fight like they were born for this. They are not afraid." The humans were calm, but every move was deadly. They coordinated attacks, shield positions, and jumps through the storm with perfect timing. Raider attacks became desperate, wild, and less effective. The humans adapted instantly to every change, predicting movements and using the environment like a weapon. Ethan issued new orders. Prepare. Strike teams. We target command ships. Remove their leaders, and the rest will scatter. Claire allocated ships to each team. We strike together. Fast and precise. Humans hit where others would hesitate. We hit now. Lucas led his team toward the Raider command cruiser. They moved through gaps in the storm. Invisible until the right moment. Sudden bursts of laser fire disabled engines, and communications on the cruiser. The raiders were stunned. No one had ever attacked them with such precision. Ryan monitored signals. Their fleet is breaking apart. Morale is dropping. They expected chaos from humans, not calm, controlled strategy. We have them. Ethan kept calm, observing every detail. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Humans win when others fail to think. The raiders tried to reorganize, but their formation was destroyed. Smaller raider ships collided in confusion. Some fled. Others panicked. The humans pursued only when necessary. Never reckless. Always precise. Claire directed the defense of the convoy. Hold shields. Intercept remaining raiders. We are protecting life first. Attack is secondary. Medics continued their work, moving survivors to safety, calming frightened aliens. Humans ensured that everyone was accounted for. Even in the midst of battle, the priority was life. That was the human way. As the storm roared, human ships executed coordinated jumps, striking raiders from unexpected angles. The raiders had never encountered a species that could act so quickly, adapt so efficiently, and remain so calm under impossible conditions. Lucas sent a final strike against the command cruiser. It disabled engines and critical systems. The remaining raiders realized they were defeated. They had underestimated humans, and now they paid the price. Ethan called the fleet back. Secure the area. Make sure all survivors are safe. Humans protect life above all else. Even in battle. The storm was still dangerous. But the raiders had no strength left to challenge the humans. Human ships returned to positions around the convoy. Shields ready, engines on standby. Survivors watched, still trembling, but beginning to understand the humans they had met. Ryan decoded the last signals from the raiders. They are retreating. They've lost coordination. Humans have caught them off guard completely. Ethan nodded. Good. Humans do not fight recklessly. Humans fight with purpose. Humans win when others assume fear. We'll control them. Claire watched the convoy. We've done it. Everyone is safe. Humans acted where no one else would. We turned the tide. Lucas flew past, scouting the retreating raiders. They'll think twice before attacking humans again. They underestimated us completely. Medics continued their work, calming survivors, treating injuries, and ensuring no one was left behind. Humans had saved life first and fought second. That combination was deadly. As the storm began to subside, humans organized the convoy to leave the dead zone. The survivors stared in awe, understanding that humans were not just strong. They were clever, adaptable, and fearless. They acted when others hesitated. They survived where others failed. Ethan addressed his crew. We did what humans always do. We act when it matters. We protect life. We fight when necessary. Humans are not defined by fear or limits. Humans define the limits. Ryan smiled at the sensors. The raiders won't forget this. They'll remember humans as unpredictable, relentless, and precise. Lucas felt a rush of pride. We caught them off guard. We saved lives. Humans never fail when they refuse to fear. Claire nodded. And the survivors will tell the story. Humans do not wait for permission. Humans do not hesitate. Humans act. Humans survive. The convoy moved safely out of the storm. Human ships patrolled the area one last time, ensuring no raiders remained. The survivors were safe, the dead zone behind them, and the raiders defeated. Humans had acted with courage, precision, and intelligence qualities the galaxy had never fully appreciated. Ethan looked at his crew, proud but calm. This is what humans do. We face impossible odds. We act decisively. We protect life. We never leave anyone behind. The galaxy will remember this day. Humans will be counted among the strongest, not just because of strength, but because of courage, skill, and determination. As they moved into safer space, the survivors thanked them, eyes wide, with awe. The aliens had witnessed something extraordinary, humans acting in impossible conditions, protecting life, and defeating enemies that others feared. Humans were unpredictable, unstoppable, and unstoppable when driven by purpose. And somewhere, the remnants of the Raider fleet regrouped, shaken and wary. They had underestimated humans. They had learned a lesson that would be remembered for a long time. Humans had arrived where no one else dared, acted when no one else would, and emerged victorious without chaos, without panic, without fear. The SOS that had begun this journey had led to more than a rescue. It had shown the galaxy the true nature of humans, resilient, clever, courageous, and relentless. And as the storm faded behind them, the human fleet moved forward, calm, precise, and ready for whatever came next. The storm had finally begun to fade, leaving behind a calm but eerie sky. The human fleet moved steadily through the outer edges of the dead zone, escorting the rescued aliens to safer space. The Raider fleet had been broken, their confidence shattered, and their leaders disabled. Humans had acted where no one else dared, and now the galaxy would have to take notice. Ethan Brooks stood on the command deck, looking out at the fading storm clouds. He was quiet, thoughtful. The mission had been successful, but he knew it was more than just a rescue. Humans had proven something to the galaxy, something that could not be ignored. Commander Claire Adams spoke from the tactical station. The survivors are stable, shields and engines are holding. We can continue to jump out of this region safely. Ryan is tracking potential Raider, regrouping signals. Ethan nodded. Good. We leave nothing to chance. Humans survive because we prepare, we act, and we protect life. That is our way. Ryan scanned the signals. Some Raiders are trying to hide, regroup, maybe report what happened. But their systems are damaged. They won't have enough strength to mount another attack soon. The humans caught them completely off guard. Lucas Gray, still flying his scout around the convoy, added, They assumed humans would be slow, predictable. They thought we would panic. Instead, we acted calmly, quickly, and with skill. They didn't see it coming. Medics moved among the rescued aliens, checking vital signs, distributing rations, and offering comfort. Many of the survivors were shaken, but alive, their fear slowly giving way to awe and gratitude. One small alien girl clutched a human nurse's hand tightly, whispering, "You saved us. I thought we were alone." The nurse smiled, squeezing her hand. "You're never alone when humans are near. We act when it matters. Always." Ethan turned to his officers. "We've done more than survive the storm or defeat Raiders. Humans have shown courage, intelligence, and skill. The galaxy needs to know that humans do not wait for permission, and humans do not hesitate." Claire nodded. "We've protected life first and fought only when necessary. That combination is deadly, and it sends a message the galaxy cannot ignore. Other species will think twice before underestimating humans again." Number 2. We have heaven too. Number 2. Ryan continued monitoring signals. The Raiders are trying to report back, but they're struggling. Their fleet is damaged. They can't organize quickly. They will be shaken for some time. Ethan smiled faintly. "Good. Let them reflect on what humans are capable of. Humans survive where others fail. Humans act when others hesitate. Well, As the fleet moved further from the dead zone, the rescued aliens began to regain confidence. They whispered among themselves about the humans who had risked everything to save them. Stories of bravery, calmness under pressure, and skillful fighting began to spread quietly among the survivors. One of the older aliens, a scientist named Torin, approached Ethan. "I have never seen a species act with such courage and intelligence," Torin said. "Humans do not wait, they do not panic, and they act with precision. We owe our lives to you." Ethan shook his head. "We only did what we had to do. Life matters. Humans always act when life is at stake. That is all." Claire watched the conversation. "Torin, remember this. Humans are not just strong. Humans survive because of skill, courage, and determination. Other species will underestimate that, at their own risk." Lucas returned from a scouting pass. "I've checked the area. No raiders are close enough to threaten us again. The survivors are safe for now. The humans have done their part perfectly." Medics continued their work. One nurse spoke softly to a survivor who had fainted earlier. Ryan studied incoming data from the wider galaxy. Reports are already spreading. Other species are noticing what happened. They are talking about humans arriving in the dead zone, rescuing survivors, and defeating raiders with calm precision. This will change how the galaxy views humans. Ethan nodded. "Good. Let them see. Humans survive where others fail. Humans act decisively. Humans protect life. That is the reputation we earn." Hours passed, and the human fleet led the survivors to a safe sector near known trade routes. There, other species could safely take over the survivors, and humans could withdraw if needed. The convoy slowly docked, and medics oversaw the transfer of the rescued aliens. Torin and others thanked the humans repeatedly. One young alien said, "I never thought a species could be so brave, so calm, so skilled. Humans are different. Humans are incredible." Ethan responded simply, "We do what must be done. We act when life is at stake. Humans survive because we never give up, and we never hesitate." Claire added, "Humans act where others fear. Humans protect life before anything else. That combination is dangerous for anyone who underestimates it." Lucas watched the raider fleet in the distance, scattered and retreating. "They will remember this. Humans arrived when they thought we wouldn't, acted when they thought we would hesitate, and survived where they assumed we couldn't." Ryan analyzed the sensor logs. "Every move we made was precise. The raiders couldn't predict our actions. Humans used strategy, skill, and the storm itself to our advantage. They will spread the story. And the galaxy will rethink the humans' reputation." Ethan looked at the fleet one last time. "Humans do not fight for glory. Humans fight because it is necessary. Humans survive because we prepare, we adapt, and we act. That is why the galaxy will never forget today." As the humans prepared to depart the safe sector, the rescued aliens began sharing stories. "Humans came in when no one else would," Torin said. "They risked themselves in a place called the Dead Zone. They protected life. They fought with skill. The galaxy must take note. 19. Tep today. 19. Other species who heard these stories began to rethink humans. Previously dismissed as reckless and unpredictable, humans were now seen as capable, skilled, and courageous beyond expectation. Whispers began to spread through trade routes, council chambers, and distant colonies. Humans were no longer ordinary, they were extraordinary. Ethan addressed his crew quietly. "The galaxy will remember this day, not because we sought glory, but because we did what was right." Claire smiled. "Humans never underestimate life, never underestimate skill, and never underestimate courage. This mission proves it. Lucas nodded. The raiders will think twice before attacking humans again. And others who hear the story will respect us more than ever. Humans do not wait. Humans do not falter. And humans never leave anyone behind. Ryan added, the SOS may have seemed small and weak, but it changed everything. Humans responded, acted, and survived. The galaxy cannot ignore that. The fleet moved further into open space, leaving the dead zone and raiders behind. The rescued aliens continued to express gratitude, sharing stories of the humans' calm efficiency, courage, and skill. The humans themselves remained humble. They had done what they always did. They acted when needed, protected life, and survived. Ethan spoke to the crew as they jumped to faster lanes. Remember this. Humans survive, humans act, humans protect life. We have done our duty today. The galaxy will notice, and humans will never be underestimated again. Claire added, this is just one example. Humans face impossible odds every day. We adapt, we survive, we act. Other species should take note. Lucas looked at the stars, feeling proud. Humans are unpredictable, relentless, and efficient. We've shown the galaxy our strength in the right way, through courage and skill, not fear. Medics continued to care for survivors, ensuring every alien was safe. Even in the midst of exhaustion and storm, humans prioritized life above all else. They had rescued, fought, and survived without hesitation. As the fleet moved into safer regions, the galaxy began to take notice. Stories of the human fleet arriving in the dead zone, rescuing survivors, and defeating a raider fleet spread quickly. Humans had caught the galaxy off guard, not with weapons alone, but with courage, skill, and action, where no one else dared. Ethan looked at the stars ahead. The galaxy may never fully understand humans, but it will respect us. We act when it matters, protect life when others cannot, and survive where others fail. This is what humans do. Claire smiled. Humans do not wait for glory. Humans do not wait for permission. Humans act, adapt, and protect life. That is why the galaxy will remember this day forever. Lucas added, and the raiders will not forget. Neither will anyone else who hears the story. Humans are strong, clever, and fearless in ways others cannot comprehend. Ryan concluded, the sauce may have seemed simple, but it led to one of the greatest examples of human skill and courage. The galaxy will never doubt humans again. Quote, Ethan nodded. We have shown what humans are capable of. We protect life. We act decisively. We survive. Humans are a force the galaxy will always respect. And that begins today. The human fleet continued on its journey, leaving the dead zone behind. The survivors would return to their home systems, carrying stories of courage, skill, and determination. The raiders would regroup, wary and shaken, and the galaxy, slowly but surely, would begin to see humans not as ordinary, but as extraordinary. A species that acts when needed, survives the impossible, and protects life above all else. The SOS had stirred humans into action, and in doing so, had reminded the galaxy what humans could do. They were unpredictable, relentless, and unstoppable when driven by purpose. And the story of the Dead Zone rescue would echo across the stars for generations, a true example of humans at their finest. Humans had arrived when no one else would, acted when no one else dared, and survived when others thought it impossible. The galaxy had watched in awe, and now it would never underestimate humans again.